Welcome everybody online. I try not to never forget. My motto is no Falcon left behind. So I'll try to look at everybody. So feel free if you want to show your faces, you can do that. If you want to stay behind the thing, we make our students show their faces, but you don't. This is a mock class, so you can show a mock face. It's okay. Anyway, so my name is Lynn Wolf. I am a professor here at Bentley, adjunct lecturer. Lecturer. I was an adjunct lecturer, and then I got the miracle of being full-time here. But I'm also part of Bentley as a double Falcon, class of '88 and 2000. So scarily do the math. I do it and I go, holy cow. I come back here and I think I'm 18, but I'm not. So let's see. Let me get my little mouse going here. And it's not. So we're going to, in this mock class, I promise it's going to be light and easy. We're going to talk a little bit. I'm not going to make anyone do debits and credits, which is what the students fear in GB 112. So I put your mind at ease on that. But we'll do a little background about each other. We will do talk a little bit about accounting and business and how we tell the students in general with this information, what it's all about. If we have time, we'll go through some key business terms and just kind of look at some things and kind of have a little bit of a class. And then I'll take any questions you have. And if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and get it back to you. So welcome to our class. Awesome. Nobody is ever later on time. So pretty cool. I like that. That was like the class of 2018, I think they did that. So just so you know about me, as I said, I am a double Falcon. I need to get rid of this. Down below. I'm a double Falcon. I got my bachelor's in accountancy. Then I got my CPA working at Arthur Andersen for about 3 or 4 years. And then I spent a good chunk of my life out in the corporate world. I worked a combination of venture capital companies. So people who gave money to these startups. And that was a lot like going to the baseball game and getting a hot dog and sitting in the stands and watching the game. And then I spent the bigger majority of the thing, because I found I like to watch the game, but I really like to play the game. So I like to be in the trenches or the outfield or wherever they wanted to put me. So I worked in startup companies, mostly in security software and ed tech. So you can see the progression. I did ed tech. I really got used to school. I loved Bentley. And then finally I had an opportunity to teach here adjunct, which means you work your full-time job and you teach 1 or 2 classes as they have the needs. So I did that and I fell in love with this. And I never looked back. I was lucky to have a mentor in my professor, Dr. Bill Reid, who was my intermediate accounting professor. You probably remember Bill Reid. Oh my gosh. Yep. So he was my accounting professor in undergrad. And he told me, just don't suck an egg. And I said, okay, I won't do that. I went out to the real world and I think not sucking an egg was having a good career. And then I came here and 30 years later, he says, I go, any advice on teaching? He goes, just don't suck an egg. I'm like, okay. So it seems to last no matter what. So he is my mentor and my life has come full circle. Has anyone on the screen, has anyone had Dr. Bill Reid? Because he has been around for a while, and I don't want to say that in a bad way, but just kind of wanted to check on that. All right, so my goal is to make sure that students know I bring all this work experience in, so I am not just in the classroom. I'm spending the second part of my career in that, and so we try to make sure that they learn all of what they're seeing in the book is applied in real life and how it's applied, so that they can use that. I call it like their street skills, as you'll kind of see. So I have, oh, I forgot. I'm a big Falcon fan. Can you not tell, right? Sunday, Falcon weekend, you can get on the ice and take pictures like that too. I'll rent out my godson if you want, but it makes it look really good. But anyway, a lot of fun to get on the ice, great selfies and pictures from the ice on up. So I learned to ice skate just to do that. So kind of wanted to see if you guys are willing to do so. Try to keep it somewhat light. But if you get your wonderful phones out, it's okay. You can have phones here. I'm not going to penalize or collect them or anything. There are 3 questions that I'd like to ask you. So if you go to your Safari, whatever browser you have, and you type in polev.com/Lynn Wolf, you should see a survey. And it's going to ask you those 3 questions. What is your Bentley affiliation? Where is home? You don't have to give me your address. Where in general, country, city, state, however you want. And what is your professional background or area of interest? So this is going to be like a word cloud. So they're just going to pop out, and these are going to pop out. You could say, I'm an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, and those words will kind of pop as well. This is going to be a graph.
Excuse me, can you just read like POLL, what's after that?
Yeah, P-O, it's like an eye test, right?
Yeah.
P-O-L-L-E
Okay.
and then V. E is an egg and V is in Victor. .com. Trust me, if I wasn't sitting up here, I couldn't see the screen either. It's crazy.
So it says it's locked.
It says it's locked. Oh no, this is where
So
I get it.
what is your Bentley affiliation? And then it says this poll is locked,
Oh
at
no.
least for me.
Oh no, is it working for you guys too? It's locked. Oh man. All right. How's it working for you guys out there? Should be unlocked. Here we go. Let's try that.
I've not
Did I
responded.
just
Okay,
read
got
it?
it. Yep, you're good.
Yay. I must have hit that button by accident. There we go. Look at this. Watch this go right here.
Answered the
You
wrong
said
right?
I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I'm like, wait, I'm not the student. I am the parent. Me too.
Are people changing their identity? I know it's only an either or, right? Pick your most valuable thing that you think.
All right, so once you answer.
It's Lynn, just / Lynn Wolf?
Yep, so it's
Okay.
Paul.
Oh, it's right there, okay.
Yes, / Lynn Wolf.
Technology, it's not my thing.
Luckily, I have a short name, right? Well, it's looking like I have a lot of parents here.
Where is home? Is that the state?
So you can imagine when you do this to, you know, a whole bunch of students or whatever, you can imagine this gives the students an excuse to use a phone, right? So it looks like here, as we're looking at it, I've got mostly parents here. So I was telling my students at office hours, I said, I'm gonna be a little nervous. I'm gonna talk to your parents. And they're like, no, they're okay. So we have some alumni here on board and we have some students as well. So I know we're always students in life. When I look at the second poll, this one says, where is home? So we get Texas, New Jersey, Holliston. So this is like a word cloud. So I'll do things like, tell me what accounting is. The beginning of the semester, they'll throw things out and what they think it is the beginning. And then at the end of the semester, we'll do this again, kind of compare the 2 word clouds and say, hey, what's going on? You know, in this case, we've got people from all over the place. So very nice. Whoop, and as it adds more, kind of does that. So it's really interactive. So wherever you are, you can always be part of the class. Like Boston just jumps out there, right? And then here, what are some people? Let's see. We've got teachers, we've got a dentist, we've got real estate. See, all these connections here we can make here at Bentley is what we tell them. Some people do audit, securities, law, compliance. Very good, very good. We've got a portfolio director. Wow, look at that. I'm in good company here with all you. Self-employed, awesome. I got students who want to be entrepreneurs. So we've got some CPAs. Welcome, fellow CPAs. Very awesome. So see, there's a lot of things and a lot of people. Oh, someone works in supply chain. There's a major here and students who love to meet people who are in supply chain. So this is awesome. We've got a lot of variety. So welcome, everybody. All right. Just a little fun. So we do that. We do things like that. We do something else called Cahoots. Anyone heard of Cahoots? Right? We do those. I had a friend who was trying to mock her presentation, had Cahoots, and I said, I think you elevated my blood pressure. We had this competition going. I lost in the end, but it was neck and neck for a while. So anyway, so we've got a whole wide variety of people here. And what we want to do from here on in is we want to talk about a little bit about, you know, what we tell your students in accounting and business in GB 112, just so they kind of understand a little bit of how this all fits. They all come into GB 112 and I'm looking at my clock to make sure I don't, oh, my other classroom does not have a clock That's right. So that's why if you see me doing that, now this, I'm actually the clock with the right clock time. So I don't want to keep students above class. But we have looked at this in GB 112. And students are afraid of the class. And it really bothers me, and there's a lot, because I'm like, don't be afraid. I actually have done this. I'm living proof. And that's what I tell them all the time. I'm living proof that you can do this. This is stuff that you need. And so we walk through a couple of these steps. In these slides are I kind of summarize it for you, kind of give them lessons learned or things to kind of carry with them to make it happen. So we'll start out by saying, look at this and tell me what you think. So if you look at this cartoon, we say, tell me what you see out of this and what do you think this says about accounting or business?
So far, it's hard to read.
It's very hard to read. Oh my goodness, I gotta get this bigger. How about this one right here? Can you see that?
A little bit clearer.
Okay. So if you're looking,
Assets.
what does this mean over here when you look at this side? Looks pretty crazy, right? So what's happening here is we have a lot of data. We have all this stuff being poured in. Somebody's sweating here with the green eye shade, and all that. That's what people think accounting is. They think it's cranking through the numbers and making it happen. What I try to tell students is all of this is done in automation, right? Everything is systemized. We take, yes, some things are black and white. That's what accounting rules are all about. And we have that, but what we do is all those black and white things, we can automate into processes and put them into systems and make it happen. So we have to teach you the building blocks of accounting here and teach you how business works and how all the books work. And then from there, you're going to see how you can use this to make management decisions elsewhere. So we tell you, this is what you have to have as an infrastructure, but this is really where we're at right here. We say that we look at, I call it a combination of a crystal ball and peripheral vision to make sure I see all the economic events that are going on as in my accounting role in the company to make sure I have all of those recorded so that we know what's happening with the business. If we forget to record something like a payroll, then we're spending more money than we think we do, and we might spend double the money, right? And that's going to be an issue for the company. So we use all this information, and that we're really a partner to management in that. So we help them make good decisions. And I joked around, I said, shades of gray, this is not the movie, right? So this really means that where that one side is black and white and we have rules in accounting, there's also a whole bunch of common sense, management experience and the like, that when we look at a business transaction for our company, we decide whether, we can do something with it, we can be revenue, or we can't have it be revenue, or earnings for our business yet. There's a lot of things we have to come into play and make that happen. A lot of rules will happen, but sometimes it just takes common sense and a thought. So all of this accounting finance information allows us to make better business decisions. And that's what we're trying to do with this. And it allows you to be the business partner within the company. So I found that, as I progressed and worked in corporate, and I ended up being like a controller and a vice president of finance, I was one of the people on the management team. So I worked less with accounting and more with engineering and marketing and sales and the like. So it's very important, that everybody learns the language of business accounting. So if they're in marketing, they can talk to me about their budgets and I can help them do their better job. I give them the tools that they need and they can manage to their budget. And if they understand that, I tell them that these students are great at technology and they're great at thinking outside the box. And I'd hire one any day of the week if I were out in the marketplace, because they're just so talented in that. So we talk about this, that accounting is the language of business, and you gotta at least learn it in the beginning to understand it in the building blocks to then be able to go on from there. And it's used by everyone in the company. I tell them, you ask me a job and I will tell you what you will use accounting for in your job. And they try to challenge me. Someone said, what if I'm a consultant in that, right? So anyway, even if I did real estate, right? If I did real estate, I would still have to know, the ins and outs and the bookkeeping, the gains and the losses and that, so I need to use it. Second thing we tell them, or I tell my students in my classes, is that I'm giving you a tool chest. So I'm giving you a hammer and a saw and a screwdriver and one of those level things, and that's about as far as I go in tools. But I'm gonna prepare you by giving you a toolbox. And we're gonna have things such as financial statements, which we're going over right now. We talked about the 4 financial statements for extra credit. Does anyone know what the 4 are? Income statement, balance sheet, cash flow,
You know,
stockholders' equity. Did you say P&L? Yep, you had that with the income statement. All right. Well, we got a few prizes here. I'm gonna start here. You win and you get M&Ms, right? There you go. Awesome. I wish I could do this every class. I'm trying to find a way. You guys are the special class. Usually Halloween, I'll bring candy and stuff like that. We have like accounting Jeopardy we play. I played it with some students last week. So I'll have financial statements, I'll have ratios, things that will give me benchmarks between companies and that, and we'll make sure that they know, who's doing better than other companies. Are we keeping up with the competition? How do we look based to last year? And then budgets and forecasts. I tell them that all of this stuff you need to run your business, right? These are the things that help you understand if you're doing the right thing, if you're on track. And then cash flow planning, we talk about how important cash flow is. And we have other things and tools that we have that help us make decisions. And we always, in an audit perspective, we make sure that internal controls are taken care of. So we make sure all our assets are protected. Our inventory is safe, that's not leaving. Whenever you go to a clothing store, they have that little tag, right? So you want to make sure that, that's how they control inventory. It's all those little things, from something as small as that to something as an armored car protecting cash. All of those things are out there to make sure that we're keeping in play. And we have to keep in compliance with the government, with the SEC if we're publicly held and the like. So we tell them all of that. And we say that no one of these is what you need. Everything's a tool. You might need 2 tools to fix the window, or you might need 1, but you got to look at it and understand what each tool is all about and pick the best ones to help you make the decision. We tell them that we have technology. So there's a lot of technology sources here. We're teaching them Excel and GB 112, just a smidge enough to get them going to IT 101. And then when they get to their other classes, depending on the major in that, they may get into accounting systems, learning how the books are taken care of. They will use in a lot of their classes, exports from Excel to these visualization products like Tableau and Power BI. It's amazing what you can do now with information in analytics. And so there's an analytics focus in the bachelor's and the master's program. So we're really telling them it's all about data, and to get that data to you and use critical thinking to be able to solve the business problems. Use the technology to kind of help you get there. I also tell them this, kind of the street smarts, your gut and your common sense and thinking outside of the box are really going to be what is going to help you in the situation. You can have all the textbook knowledge in the world, but it's going to take all of this to be able to understand what's going on at your business, what's going on in the world, read the newspapers and read the things that are going on, understand what's going on around your business and around the world, and make the best decision. I tell them right here that all of my good decisions in life have been made with my gut, my heart, and my mind. And sometimes the heart leads you too far, and sometimes the mind leads you too far, right? But if you somehow get in check and balance with them all, you're going to make the best decision you can with the information you have at that given time. And then I say, if anything, if 2020 has taught us anything, be agile, be reactive and receptive to change. Because I say, everyone in 2020 did their annual budget, they did it, and then COVID hit, and they crumpled it up, and they threw it in the trash, and they had to start over, and they had to think about how to be different. And that was, the key thing I say to the students, that you guys are watching this all happen right now. The grownups are out there making those decisions. You're going to see right ones, you're going to see wrong ones, and you want to learn from this experience as well as what we teach you here and apply it. Because if you do that, God forbid this happened or something else similar, or any type of business obstacle in the road, you're going to be able to react to it. And they really, I had them pull articles last semester and analyze what's going on in the world and apply it to our class and what they saw. We talked about a lot of awesome topics. It was great. And again, this allows you to be a business advisor to the team. The other thing we tell them, and I'm sure parents, you tell your children this as well, is that you got to learn about your finances, right? You got to learn how to pay for your education. You got to learn how to not spend all the money you have for the semester in September. You need to make sure that you create a budget. I know, I can tell from a lot of the students I have, they are super responsible. I know students who work 2 and 3 jobs. I know students who say, I'm going to work the summer and put my investment in the fall. But we talk about how you can use all this to make sure you understand your own personal budget or cash flow planning, or something called time value of money. So the people in investments and who have chimed in on that, they know about time value of money. Anyone who has a 401k plan knows about it as well, right? Retirement, you put $1 in today, it's worth more. And we show them how to do that on the calculator. Once you show them how the money grows, they're really like, wow, look at that, the power of compounding. So we do a lot of that as well. So I'm going to pause here and see if there are any questions so far. Are there any in the chat or?
None in the chat yet.
All of you have probably know a lot of this stuff from your careers and real life and that. A lot of students may have seen it from parents and some have not. But our goal is to kind of say, hey, here's another grown-up telling you about it, right? And this is how I've succeeded in life, is by knowing these things. This is one area of business I'm telling you from accounting, but all your other professors are going to teach you all those different areas. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this all together and figure out what you want to do. You know, if any accounting major or anyone wants to talk to me about business or anything I've seen, I don't drag them into accounting if they don't want to go. I say, tell me what you're looking for and point them in the right direction. So we all want them to pursue the dream that they want to do. So we have some business terms. So now I'm going to come to you all and ask you to kind of help me here. So I have something called revenue. How would you define revenue? Cash coming in. So if I sell ice cream, sales, right? Sales revenue, that's the total money coming in, right? Absolutely. Okay. Now I have expenses. What are those? They are. Yep, they're expired costs. Oh, I like that because, yes, they're expired. So you must have a little accounting background, right? Yes, they're expired. They've been incurred, right? Well, I'm going to preemptively. I know what's going to happen here. So you automatically get some dividends. Okay. So you can answer as you want, but I already know you have the answer. Okay, so expenses, right? The total cost incurred by a business to generate that revenue. Okay, so that could be if we've been doing an ice cream business all week, and all I want to do is eat ice cream, talking to the students. But I tell them I've got my ice cream stand on Hampton Beach. I have the revenue there, and money's coming in for my ice cream, but costs are going out. At that point, we have profit. We like profit, right? What is that?
The money you earn.
The money that you earn, right? And is that at any point in time? Like you have the revenue, I earn that. What's the difference?
After taking away expenses.
You got it. You get one too. I have 3 more. I gotta figure out. I'm gonna get too generous. Oh, I have 2 more after that. Look
Two
at
more
that.
secret ones.
See, this is good. These guys have the good tchotchkes, right? Poor people at home. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we like it because profit means revenue is greater than expenses. And if it's a loss, right? I have sad face under my mask. That means that revenue is less than expenses. Okay. So I tell the students, it's okay if you have one of these once in a while. You don't want it all the time, right? In the lifetime of your company, you want more profits than you do losses. So all of these things go on an income statement. Put them all together. And that is one of our financial statements we discussed. We just discussed it the other day. And I tell them that summarizes all the money coming in and all the money coming out. And we tell them it's over a period of time. Okay, what did I get for the year, the month? Yes, question.
Yes. How do you teach students who don't like accounting or want to be an accountant?
How do we teach them how to do that? One, ooh, that's a good question there. One, when we teach them this, I try to, first of all, I try to tell them I'm a Bentley alum, right? I try to soften them up and say, don't be afraid of this class. The first semester freshmen who come in don't know what's going on whatsoever. They're scared of this class who has a bad rumor. They're scared of where am I going in class? How do I do homework? This is all different. And I tell them, you come to us and work together. So if someone's scared of accounting, we take it, when I do this whole thing, and I'm talking to you, I sped it up, right? But we basically spend the first day saying, I am the co-pilot, I am the flight attendant. And basically the first day, I am gonna tell you where the exit rows are. And I'm gonna tell you to put on your mask first, right? Before everybody else puts their mask. And I might tell you what's on the menu, but they don't really serve food anymore, right? So I tell them that's the lay of the land of the class. We tell them how the deliverables are and all that stuff. So that all happens the first day. The second and third day, we kind of look at it and I say, all right, we're flying at 35,000 feet. We're learning about business in general. What's revenue and profit? We do a lot of this stuff. And then I say, that's like being in the plane and saying, hey, look, there's the Grand Canyon, right? If you turn to the left, you can see the Grand Canyon out the window. So we're flying high and you can see those big things down below. What we just did today in days 3 and 4 are that I say, okay, do you know when you're on the plane and your ears pop and you start to descend? This is your time. You want a little bubble gum, right? Don't get it stuck on your mask, but get a little bubble gum and chew a little bit because we're going to go down a little bit. We're not going to do Top Gun. We're not diving. We're not the Thunderbirds. We're going to basically take a soft descent. I'm going to talk a little bit more about these 4 financial statements. So day 1 and 2, we talk about, these things right here, and they're really good. This year, surprise, like they just amazed me how good they were, the profit and the loss and how this works and what do businesses do? How do people invest? Lots of awesome questions. And then we kind of get into this with the income statement and we talk a little bit about the 4 financial statements. And then we just drop a hint of cash flow. We drop that hint of cash flow. We just say enough to be dangerous right now, but then we come back and talk more about it because it gets a little confusing with them. But cash flow, we tell them is the fuel of the company. So when you said, there's a question out on the Zoom, when you said that, how do we make students not afraid of it? We tell you, we're giving you the tools. We're giving you all that you need to make this happen. And we want to tell you how to conserve and preserve that fuel. We actually started out with a money bag in the middle, burlap bag full of money. We talked about how we put the money in the bag and we take the money out of the bag. And I think when we take accounting and we boil it down to practical examples and how it works in business, and no matter what, if you're going to start your own business or you're going to work for somebody or you're going to audit businesses, that they understand that this all is relevant. When they start to see how it clicks and works in real world, then they kind of say, okay, I'm kind of getting this. I'll have some students that say, you know what? I had one student last year who was in creative industries. That was going to be her major. She was a transfer and she said, no way. And she had family who were accountants. So she says, no way am I going to like this. And she ended up being one of my top students. She's like, this is great. Look at this. It's all balancing. Like she said, I'm still not going to be an accounting major, but I like it a lot better. I'm not as afraid. And that's kind of the goal. So. Other questions? So just know, I'm also the course coordinator of GB 112 and 212, along with Professor Casali. And we really want to make sure we stomp this fear of the class. It is the first time, I tell them, first time you do anything is scary. Your first exam, your first college experience, all of that. And so just work with us and we will dispel the fears. We will make you feel comfortable and we'll make sure that you understand these concepts. And also, if they're afraid of accounting and they don't understand it, we have tons of resources. We have a dedicated tutor to GB 112 and 212. We have that the accountancy department pays for out of their own budget. We have something called the LEAF. That was donated by one of the alumni, and he set up the LEAF program. So it's for finance, economics, and accounting. So all years can go to that. There are tutors there that are funded and they help and they do study sessions and the like. Academic services, if we try all those realms and the student says, I still don't get this, even if I don't like this, I'm still trying to figure out and I still don't get this, then we can arrange them with a tutor. They can have group tutors, one-on-one tutors and the like. So we always have that. And then two other things. Then we have academic services has a geek squad. So they put on to study sessions for the entire freshman class right before they go. And then I do review sessions for my students too. So professors can choose to do that. So we try to say, when I say it, I mean it, no Falcon left behind. And I will help every single student. When we went home for COVID, I found every single student. I always make sure everyone's okay. It must be the mother Falcon in me, as I say to them. So we want to make sure that we keep them running on that. Okay. If they have concerns as a course coordinator, I invite this, I really do, honestly, is have them come to me. Parents can come to me if there's really an issue. You go probably if there's an academic issue, you go to academic services. You can come to me, but there has to be permission from the student to do that if they're over 18. So those are FERPA rules that they have to be in compliance with, or we all have to be in compliance with. So if they just encourage them to ask, and the resources are out here, no matter what, we all want them to succeed. I've never seen the people in academic services work real hard, disability services for accommodation. We tell the students of all these things that are out there, and don't be ashamed to ask for help. I tell them I didn't. I was afraid to talk or whatever. I tell them, don't be afraid, come to me. And it really works. Then they open up and they start coming, and then you have a blast with them, because then that's when the fun stuff starts. Get to know them. So let me jump back here to this for a second. We talk about cash flow and being the fuel of the company. So we tell them how important this is, and that it is all the funding for the company. It keeps the company running on the road, on the highway. And then we usually will go through a financial statement. This is as dorky as I'm going to get today for anyone who does not like accounting, okay? So this is a very simple income statement, and it says it's Falcon ice cream. I decided to give it a name, and it's my July performance. So how I did in July. So I want to ask what kind of things we might have. What kind of things would be revenue for my ice cream store? Sales. Yeah, but what kind? What would I be selling? Flavors of ice cream. Yep. Oh my God. And if I sell the ice cream, how would I sell it? Could it be on something? Cones, right? And what do you put on it? What's those little sprinkles or jimmies? Depends on where you come from, right? What if it's a banana split, right? You have bananas, you have whipped cream. Are y'all getting hungry? Right? This is what happens to me any hour of the day, right? So you're going to have all those things, right? That's your revenue from all of those different things. Maybe I make, drinks. I heard drinks. So like shakes or fraps, wherever you're from, whatever they're called. And, but then I have to make sure that I consider all the expenses. So what would be expenses of my ice cream business? We'll all be entrepreneurs. What was that? Labor. Yes, I thought you said flavors. Yep, labor. It's so hard with the math. Then I have to figure out who said it. Right? This is me every day, right? So yes, labor, right? Employees, right? Your most important resource. Rent. You got rent.
Insurance.
Materials. Yeah, materials would be, the cost of goods sold, right? Yeah, I know you already earned the things, but yep, you're right.
Insurance.
What's that?
Insurance.
Insurance, yep, right? Utilities, exactly. All of these things here, absolutely.
Maintenance.
So
Yeah.
labor, we always say employees are the greatest resource. So for labor, you get some, you can share, right? There's a little sugar.
Oh, that's
Advertising, exactly. I got to see how many more. I'm trying to figure out if I can get everybody here. All right. They don't give me stuff to give away. I was giving kids ice cream away the other day, getting in trouble. So oops. Oh yes, there we go. Cost of goods sold, which we call the ice cream, the toppings, all that stuff, the wages, utilities, insurance, taxes. Great job. All right. So how do you feel they did? Did they do okay? Hard to tell, right? It's only 1 month. It's July, they made $5,000, how do they do another month? So we talk a little bit about that, we'll talk about, well, it's only 1 month, but they made a profit, right? Whew, all right, move on.
Peak month.
What's that?
Their peak month, probably.
I know, and that's the question, we should go look and see how competitors are doing, right? Is that good or bad? Are we in a good area? Mr. Bonnie, you said you didn't know anything about accounting, but you do. Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I know you like sugar too, so. He told me in the beginning, so. Okay, now we're gonna look at the cash flow, right? Look at this cash flow here. We start out with $25,000 in the bank. Always good to have money in the bank, right? We collect $15,000 in cash receipts. We pay out $20,000 in bills. And we end the balance with $20,000. We still have cash in the bank, but like it does on the Price is Right, we have negative cash flow for the month. It cost us more in cash flow. So what do you think about that?
I guess it all depends too, if it's the starter, right? Sometimes you can have a loss from the beginning.
Sometimes, yeah. So, but yeah, we still have cash in the bank, right?
And you might still have inventory.
You might still have some inventory, right? So you can sell more. There could have been some rainy days, even though we made a profit, we made enough to, but we did lose some money. I might have still had to pay employees. So we talk about all those things that could possibly happen. And, students who have worked or whatever, they're kind of like understanding. I'm like, it's a rainy day. Do I ask people to go home? Then what happens? They don't make money, right? But I have to think about what's the best thing for my business. We talk about trade-offs. You hope you don't have a monsoon season in the middle of summer when you're, especially in New England, right? So we kind of look at that and then we say also, let's compare it to the income statement. What do you see as some differences between the two? I thought I was doing well here, but I don't feel like I'm doing well here.
Yes. Like revenue, some of the revenues on credit, right?
You already got,
No more M&Ms.
He did it, you got a ringer here. If you want to give the answers to him. So yes, so what's the difference between the two statements? Look at this. I say my receipts, my customers paid me 15, but I brought in 25,000 in revenue, right?
So your revenue includes your receivables.
Got it. There we go, right? So this is 15,000 in cash, right? And something called 10,000 in accounts receivable. I do AR for short, but that's pretty much what it is. Oh, you can see I'm going up there. Look at that. She's gonna be running back to the alumni office to get more. There you go, huh? Awesome. All right. So yes, that's just it. There's a difference. We don't always get paid in cash. I mean, I try to tell the students cash and checks. I sound old school, but I try to tell them, yes, we get cash. This could be cash or credit cards or Venmo, right? We throw in all those up-to-date terms so they understand how that all works electronically. But then we say, but really the company brought in this much in sales. What happened to that rest? And we say, give us an example. What is this accounts receivable, right? What could be, why didn't I get all the cash?
It's not realized.
Well, in personal, I mean, for an ice cream store, you're selling ice cream, but
For the
for
most part.
personal services,
Yep.
accountants, lawyers, they send a bill. Sometimes it gets paid, sometimes it doesn't.
You are that, and I say, okay, in day 14, we're gonna talk about those people who don't pay. And that's what we usually say. But I agree with you. I always get myself, every one of the 5 classes, when I did ice cream, I get myself in a pickle at this point. Because everybody, like I'm thinking, well, darn, everybody pays cash or credit card, right? So I have to make up a scenario. So this is where Bill Reid, Professor Dr. Bill Reid said, don't lay an egg. So I dig myself out of hole by saying, wow, maybe Falcon ice cream does ice cream parties for corporations, right? For businesses. Wouldn't it be great if your company had in the summer an opportunity to go and have an ice cream party for their employees, right? Goodwill, we have the ice cream out there, but when they come and they deliver all that ice cream, maybe it's one party for the $10,000, right? It's a really big party. And I don't have $10,000 in cash or a credit card. So we say that business to business, these relationships work in the world where they go and they deliver the ice cream. So we say at that point, it's revenue for Falcon, but they don't get the money. They have to wait for the money. So they give the company an invoice and they say, it says pay in so many days. And, and I go on that promise. I leave that ice cream there thinking that they're going to pay me. And as you said, sometimes they don't, right? Once the ice cream's eaten, you can't get it back, right? Maybe it's a car and you can repossess it, but an ice cream, you can't. So then I tell them that, and then we wait for them to pay. And usually I use an example, I'm doing it to the class, and I say I bring it to Bentley accounts payable and that they are good at paying, right? We have a happy ending of the story and we get paid, at least for the first 14 days of class until we talk about bad debts. But yep, so that's what's happening here. That's the difference. Does anybody know what it's called, the difference between what we're looking at on the statement of cash flows and the income statement? There is a word that you might have learned way back as an alum.
Accrual.
I'm just gonna do that. I have two more. I'll give it to you. Right, so yes, absolutely. Thank you. Do you know I planted him in this class? Okay, so if it was a lull, there's always my go-to student, and I'm always like, okay, all right.
I actually didn't hear the answer.
Cash basis was accrual.
Accrual. We accountants have a joke. It's an accrual world, right? That's what we say. Brittany, you never heard that one?
No.
I know, we laugh at ourselves, but see, I'm actually back at Bentley where I can tell those jokes and they're funny. So it works out pretty good. So we kind of do this. We kind of take what we learn in the textbook and we apply it to real life. And we talk about what ifs in that and try to make sure that they understand more than just, the debits and the credits of it. Is what's happening to business. This is all going to help them. We teach them the financial statements so that they can use this for their capstone course and everything, but we make sure that that's in line. Is there a question?
There is. So a question from Charlene, who's loving the concept of accounting as the language of business and that you cover a lot of technical, tactical knowledge that the students would learn in this class. Do you or other classes cover business ethics from an accounting perspective?
Ooh, that was a nice lead in, thank you. Because we do, in GB 112, it's made up of kind of maybe 60% accounting, 30% finance, and maybe 10% ethics. Ethics and international ethics as well. How businesses do things around the world. But we talk about, I did it the other day, it was amazing. This is one of those things I experimented with. But we started out in day 2 talking about reading a case about Nike. So Nike's vice president of marketing had a son who actually, you've heard of this, right? The son, oh, you all have, right? Who resold the sneakers. Well, let me tell you, when I brought that article up, I had probably 6 students said, my son, I worked with that guy. I worked with that guy. I worked with that guy. Like, wow, I've never had anything like, how the sneaker business is. They taught me what's going on in that. But we talked about it from different angles. If you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to figure out what to do and get your business and you're proud of your business. But then there's that line of, okay, I shouldn't use my mother's credit card. And if I use my mother's credit card, maybe my mother gives me permission, maybe she doesn't, but I shouldn't use my mother's credit card that belongs to Nike. And that's crossing the line. So we talk about those different things, but it was something that I just happened to pick that article. Someone picked it in my class last semester and I said, hey, let's throw it out in class and talk about it. I tell them, if you see anything out there, let's talk about it. Let me know in advance so I can prep and then let's talk about it in class. So that's where we get ethics in play. We've talked about Enron, we've talked about WorldCom, we've talked about all of these things, but I kind of found in the past year, we talk about WorldCom and I say, so they had these landlines. And I go, yeah, so if I want to call South America, I have to get out of Waltham and then I got to get out of Massachusetts and then I got to get to Florida and then I got to hop over. And I tell them all that and they're kind of like, what are you talking about, right? Or Enron, have you heard of Arthur Anderson? They think Arthur Anderson's one guy. Now it is, right? One guy who started it, but they think I work for one guy, not a firm, right? So it's all those things. We said, we've got to get more relevant things. So we're going to talk a little bit. We've got a professor writing a case on Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. If you've heard about that, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I actually watched the documentary to get some more information on it. That's my first thing I bought off of Netflix or Amazon Prime, right? So I get to practice that and come to the 21st century. So we made all that happen. So it looks like somebody wants to come into the room.
Got it. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So we've done a lot of things here. I have a lot of things to talk about, but I kind of want to leave a few minutes to see if there's any questions or thoughts or comments at this point. So I can answer everybody, especially parent questions and
Just about how you explained the value of accrual versus cash. I have a joke at my company that you can't spend cash you don't collect. So what's the point of accrual?
well, that's a very good question. You're right. You can't spend, I'm with you. That is no joke. It's absolutely true, right? If you don't have it, you can't spend it. But accrual accounting helps us. We talk about, and I won't go too far in this, but we go towards maybe another 5 days of class. We'll talk about the revenue recognition principle and the expense recognition principle. So really, when we do financial statements, when you do the cash flow, this is cash in, cash out. And if you don't have it, you can't spend it, right? So this is a very important statement to know. But this, even though this is a tiny income statement, what really happens in the real world is it's a lot bigger. And we go through the entire financial close process. And what we'll do is we'll look at first revenue, very important. You want to make sure you've recorded every bit of revenue, right? So I'm making sure everything that left my shipping docks has an invoice going to the customer so I don't lose that money. I'm making sure that if I sell a subscription, like a software subscription, that I collect that money up front, that I'm recording the right amount. So sometimes we tell them that sometimes cash will come before, sometimes cash will come after. So what you want to do is, one, make sure you get your cash, right? But two, when you're recording for your income statement, what you're doing is you're trying to make sure that you record that economic event, and you're making sure that records and shows. So if it's shipped from the dock, even if I don't have the money yet, I got to make sure it's still revenue on my books, because I want to be able to show if I completed a service, I can actually claim this as revenue, even if I didn't receive the cash. And then I put it into my accounting department to make sure that they can collect the cash. And if they can't, they talk to sales or they talk to customer service and the like and make that happen. For the expenses, I have to put a crystal ball and I say, okay, I might not have gotten an electric bill yet. This is my office building. I didn't get the electric bill yet, but I know that the lights are on, right? I know I used electricity all month. So even though I don't have it, I have to come up with my best guess. So accrual accounting, what is on this income statement, comes up with the best guess. Now I lucked out. I put payments and expenses the same number. I should have left it different because I could have showed that. I was really trying to get to a loss in my numbers, in my little simple numbers. But what I need to do is estimate the electric bill. Is it always $100 a month? What if it's winter? Is it more? Is it less? And that's where we put a lot of judgment into it to come up what those expenses are. And through the debits and the credits that we do in accounting, through what we focus more on is transaction analysis, is how we teach students how that all gets in there. We try to put to the fears of accounting. We show them this one equation. Does anyone remember the accounting equation? Assets equals liabilities plus equity. Yeah, maybe stockholders' equity, capital. All right, who hasn't gotten any yet? Are you two together?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. And I think, do I get everybody? Oh, I didn't get you. All right, do you have one more?
I can get one more.
Okay, is that it? Do I have one more left?
I really know nothing about accounting. So
Oh,
in my
she's
bank-
honest, okay.
I can balance my bank statement.
Awesome, okay, so that's it. Did everybody get a candy? You didn't get one, right?
It's fine.
2 more. Okay, you kidding me? I'm trying to get take it when you can get it, right? But give them to your kids, right? Anyway, so yeah, we try to talk about that. We talk about the differences. We spend the first half of the semester talking about including everything economically. And then the second half of the semester, I rip it all apart and said, everything I taught you there, now let's go back to what you received in cash. So I pulled the rug out a little bit, but after they've gotten a good understanding of what's going there. So other questions, other thoughts? Any questions you think your children might have? Any questions you might think are different from when you were at Bentley?
I don't know if you can even answer this, but you said that the kids knew a lot more about finances now, and I was wondering if because of COVID and so many businesses went out of business and things like that, you find, was it just this year or in general? Do you know what my question
It's
is?
in general, but I have seen it ramping up a little bit. This year's class, all of a sudden, I'm like, wow. Every year I come in, I'm like, wow, every year it's more and more. So maybe, I think COVID might have been awakening for us all, right? We've all learned about, I've learned about supply chain and what happened in the Suez Canal. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I barely knew what the Suez Canal was before this, right? And I think that's created an awareness. So even before me telling them, pay attention, they really are. And they're
It's
trying
the
to.
same,
figure-
like even now, holiday shopping, you should do now because there's not gonna be stuff. coming in.
Exactly.
I was just thinking kids will pay attention, sneakers.
Yeah, the
won't be coming
sneakers,
in.
right, that trading of the sneakers, but yeah, the students who had that, they were showing me how you buy a pair of sneakers for this cost and the shipping, what do I include in the cost, what's my profit? They know this stuff. So it's amazing just through doing that, so, God bless them all. The other thing that they are, if I took a time capsule from then to now, is when we did something, I have it in here, we probably won't have time, but we talk about stakeholders. Anybody, who stands to gain or lose from what the business does. We had this discussion this past week, and we basically say, when I was here at Bentley, and I'm not saying Bentley taught bad, but kind of what I remember growing up, it was important you worked for the shareholders, right? You had to get them a return on investment and earnings per share and all the like. So you were always working for these people right here. But it is amazing. That is not the first thing the students talk about. They talk about, well, how does that impact society? And number one, we use this example. We say, who are the stakeholders of Bentley University, right? So I start with customers. Who are the customers? And they're like, we are. I'm like, you're right. And so every good business has to take care of their customers, right? So that's, I've always worked in a service organization. That's what I believe to do, is that whatever they need, they can email me, they can Zoom me, whatever it is, I'm there. So I give you good customer service, and so does Bentley. We want to make sure you have all the departments and the resources and the things that happen. And then we talk about, we go into employees and they look at me. I said, it's not just me, right? It's the alumni office, it's academic services. It's every time I say this in class, someone vacuums in the hallway, it goes, that guy, right? I couldn't time it better. We say all those things, and then we talk about how a company, they see it more than a company's just making profit. It needs that to happen. But what they say is, you know what? Although when you work at that company, you pay all these employees. I'm like, yes, I do. So 110 people, families have money to then go buy goods and services, to then, they may be the suppliers of this company, or they may be the customers of whatever company you're looking at. And we talk about the trade-offs. So we say at Bentley, this is going to not go over well. What if we want to raise tuition? So what if the president and the board decide they want to raise tuition? They have to think of the impact on the customers, which are the students and the parents. And then they have to say, well, if we don't, what's the impact on the employees, right? We're going to not be able to have as many, or give as many resources in that. Or if Bentley, we use this one, Bentley builds a water park inside it on its campus to generate revenue. How does society, the town of Waltham, consider that? Is that going to be a nuisance with all the traffic? Is it going to be great? So you have to look at whatever crazy idea you might do in your business. You have to look at it and see how it impacts your stakeholders and how you're going to mitigate the harm to some of them, hoping that the greater good will really make your company succeed for all, or as many as you can. So we do talk about a lot of that and make that happen. So that's kind of the ethics, that's kind of the corporate social responsibility. And that's where we get beyond just debits and credits and try to bring some of the real world into this textbook knowledge to make it just a little more interesting and fun. So just so you know, this is just the one chart. This is what we focus on GB 112. So in here we are the beginning class for the students. So we teach them best study practices as well as first year seminar. We give them resources and tools. We show them how to hook up on Blackboard and the like. And all these other things are things that we do. So some of these are ratios, some of these are ethical issues. We try to get a piece of this into everything that we talk about, as well as, it makes it a crammed course, as well as debits and credits and financial statements and ratios and all the like. So it is a lot for students. It is a ramp. This is not the descent, the course itself. This is kind of a takeoff in a rocket ship. But I think coming out of it, for any students who are sophomores, I hope that they say that maybe it wasn't as bad as they thought, or that it might be useful and kind of applicable. It will come back to them in their courses, and they will be able to use that. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go. That's perfect.
For students that are interested in accounting, I know there's many accounting classes, but are there other classes, like I heard CS 150 might be helpful for accountants? Are there other classes that you would recommend?
I think, so there's, well, in accountancy, we have 3 majors now. So when we were here at Bentley, there was just one accountancy, right? So now they have accountancy. If you go that strict, let me just take all accounting classes. I'd almost say if they had this when I was here, I would do corporate finance and accountancy. So what that is it gives a few more finance classes to balance it out, but yet a good finance person has a good accounting background. So it gets them into intermediate accounting and some of those things. But there's also a major called ISAC, Information Systems Audit and Control. That's more techie, and that's where they can just be, let me understand the basic internal controls and risk assessment in accounting, but use it in technology world. They can do all of that, but there's also analytics majors that are developing, so they can kind of be more techie, but yet help on that end, forensics and, fraud investigation and stuff like that. I happen to talk to, not because I was in trouble, the FBI, okay? I was at the police night out that was in the summer. It was a nationwide thing in our town. So I saw them and they let me go through their van, right? And I got to just see everything. So I was excited. And I said, how I was at Bentley, and they're like, oh my God, we would love, computer majors. We would love analytic majors. We would like accounting majors. We would like finance majors, that they love their skills and their development. So that's just one thing. These skills can be used anywhere, but yeah, there's so many things that you can go here. And there's a new curriculum that's kind of in the development right now. I don't know a lot about it other than I got to develop a new class. But as far as globally, you can talk to the university and they'll be able to tell you about, what kind of things students can double major, triple major, major minor. There's all these things they could do. And I already thought they were cramming a lot, but they can cram in a lot more now and kind of craft their degree to the interests that they have and where they want to go. It's pretty cool. I wish they had it when I was here. I want to go back. So other questions? Are there any questions online?
None, just a lot of great comments.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're gonna make my mask fog up. Thank you. Well, all right, other questions in here? Question is when are the 2 M&Ms coming, right?
They're on their way.
All right, 2 M&M people, you wait.
This isn't a question, but there was a book that I listened to about what the person you just mentioned, Thanos, that was written by I think it was an intern. Have you heard of this book?
It's on Theranos. Was
Yeah.
it someone from the Wall Street Journal?
No, was it? No, he talked to the person on Wall Street. That's how he got the story. And this guy was politically connected, his father or grandfather was, but it might be of interest to, I know they don't need to.
No,
read it
thank you. I'm gonna
anymore,
go
but
Google
I
that.
have it somewhere,
oh,
but I'll
awesome.
email it to you.
Yeah,
'cause I can
absolutely. I'll
post it.
give you my card
Yeah.
and then, yeah, let's definitely exchange.
I
So,
learned a lot.
Awesome.
I have no accounting, like I said.
but how
But
it
I
all
learned a
works,
lot,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. Oh, guys, look at this. All right. Thank you. No Falcon left behind, right? Anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much. I'll hang here. Thank you, everyone online. It was an honor and a privilege to teach you.
Thank you.
My best class.